Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Cantina for a Marvel Special Edition Friday here, as we had a huge movie drop that happened on Thursday, and some of us saw it Thursday, some of us saw it Friday, but we're going to get into it on our reviews, reaction of all that. But as always, please share this, like it, subscribe to the channel, dislike it, choose what you want to do, but just give us some interaction. Let us know what you think of our channel. It supports the channel, helps the algorithm so that YouTube says, hey, you should watch this video, so other people can come in here and see the awesome content you're seeing. So definitely help us out with that. And without further ado, Cody, Nick, how are you, gentlemen?
Fantastic.
Doing all right. How about yourself, Adam?
I'm even better after that. Oh, fantastic. No, I'm good, man. I'm excited to get into this. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. Huge
Is that
Marvel
what we're talking
movie.
about? I didn't know that. Why didn't you guys tell me beforehand?
I don't know.
I'm totally caught.
Gotta go blind. Gotta go blind.
Listen, man, you're supposed to be a professional here. Okay.
Well, you picked the wrong person.
We're only technically professionals because we have cameras and mics.
It's true. It's true. But before we get into any reviews, obviously this is going to be a spoiler review. So just forewarning you right now, if you have not seen the movie,
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Unless you're just weird and want to know everything before then you're more than welcome to join us. But if not, there's the fucking door.
Come back and watch this later.
Yeah, you can come back and watch it later because I'm sure most of you are going to see it by this weekend. So definitely the video will be here. But before we get into
the movie, you're a true fan.
That's true. That's true.
Sorry.
All right. So before we get into reviews, as we always do, score 1 to 10. What did you guys think of the movie? Obviously, 1 being shit, 10 being perfection, chef kiss. What do we got?
Nicholas, go first.
I want to go with I'm gonna say 10. I wanted to say 9, but I'm like sitting here. I'm like, I really didn't find nothing that I would change. I'd have to I feel like I'd have to watch it again. But
rookie
even
score.
Then, that's fine.
With a solid number.
Whatever.
Come on,
I'm going 10. I think it's a solid movie. I was entertained the whole time. It was fucking sweet. There's no dull moments in the movie at all. Like from start to finish, it was goddamn good. So, I mean, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm giving it a 9.8.
Then you gave me shit about a 10.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect.
Okay, well, whatever. Still, fuck you.
But it's a damn good movie. It's only that high because this movie was so hyped up, and quite honestly, it surpassed the hype for me. So,
okay.
What about you?
For me, just because I don't want to do points, like I just want to do it like a solid number. You know, even though if I did points, I would say 9.5. I'm going with a 9 out of 10.
All right.
Because I thought it was an amazing movie. Couldn't have asked for anything more. What got a little bit down on the score for me, I thought, was some of the writing. In certain areas, I thought was a little like with the lines and like unnecessary or whatever. But other than that, everything else was perfection. So mine was just kind of like a personal gripe. But I mean, as the movie as a whole, awesome. I mean, I was hyped to go into it, and then after I saw it, like you said, Cody, I felt like it gave me more than I like really expected. Not like a shit ton more, but like enough to like really hook me the entire fucking time.
Yeah. Totally agree. So,
all right.
Final warning. We're getting into spoilers.
Yep. This is it. Sorry, my camera was all messed up.
This is it, man. Spoilers are coming.
Fucking run.
He said, fucking run. It's like when you're trying to leave your dog, like an animal you're not supposed to have back out in the wild, and it like won't leave, and you're like, go, get out of here, you dumbass. Leave.
Or when you're little and your parents go and drop off your pet cat like 3 blocks over and it's following you home. And you're like, what the fuck? And your parents like, don't look at it. Just keep looking forward. Just let's go.
Don't look at the spoilers. All right. So yeah, you've been warned. Let's get into spoilers. What was your guys like? I'm gonna say best moment before we get into like the nitpicking of everything throughout the movie.
Let's get into right away.
Okay, well then we'll do best moment.
I was ready. All right, ready.
Go ahead, Nicholas. Best moment.
I was ready. So there was like 2, and it was almost consecutively like boom, boom.
Oh shit!
It was pretty much when like Doc Ock made his entrance. That was like, because it was just like, oh yes, we're starting this off like right away, and then it was quickly followed up by my next favorite part of the movie, which was the Green Goblin coming in right after that. And I was just like, oh, this is fucking yes. This is like what I was waiting for, what I wanted, and it just gave it to me right away.
So the trailer.
Yeah, pretty
But,
much.
like-
He was
but, like,
excited for the
But
trailer.
like the extended, like seeing them actually
Yeah.
come out and
I
everything, like
know.
the whole extended scenes and all that, and like fuck you guys.
I just
I'm
thought it was
not doing
funny.
this shit with you guys anymore.
No, listen, because you were explaining it, and I'm like, that's the exact trailer. I'm like, I get what you're saying, but it was just funny. I had to. I'm sorry.
I get
So
it.
it's my
When you're there, you're all hyped up, and then you see it, you're like, "Oh my god, this is happening!"
Also, it's my two favorite characters in the whole thing. So
Yeah, and the
two of
OGs,
my favorite characters.
and the original two villains of any Spider-Man movie made, current day. So OGs, you got to give them respect.
For sure. What was yours, Adam?
Honestly, I know it might be cliche, but it was when we got to see Andrew Garfield come in. Obviously, both of them coming in, but like that scene specifically for me, like when he, God, what's his friend made the fucking portal, and then made the portal, and it took me a minute to register because I was like, oh, he's probably moping in an alleyway somewhere because he's upset, and then I was like, once it dawned on me, I was like, oh, it's like, is this it? And then just watching him walk through. That's exactly. I was like, it's happening. It's happening. Like I literally gripped my seat. And I was like, oh, like that was, to me, was like my favorite moment. And it's probably a lot of people's favorite moment, but I'm not going to lie. That's mine.
Yeah. It's hard to top that. I'm not going to pick that because it's going to be everybody's.
Well, I have another one, but I'll give you take your first, and then I can give you a backup that's like not related to obviously what everyone would pick.
All right. Mine is more of a. All right, it is a scene, but it's kind of a scene where most people aren't going to think of this. It's when Goblin and Tom Holland Spider-Man are fighting in the apartment building at first. And when he is just punching the Goblin in the face multiple times and he's just laughing right in his fucking face. I was like, this is the fucking Goblin that we deserved in the first movie. And I loved that they never put that mask back on his face, because Willem Dafoe is like one of the best facial expression actors fucking ever.
Aside from Jim Carrey, yeah.
Yeah, there's very, very few on their level. And they put a mask over him when he was a goblin. And like, you think back to that first one when he's talking to himself in the mirror and it's going back and forth. And I love how they did that right away with the dumpster. That's up there too. So
Yeah.
It's basically all goblin shit, because I feel like that was Sam Raimi's, because he came back and helped with this movie. I feel like that was him going, we probably fucked up with this. Let's let Willem play with this character and see what he can do. And that whole scene when he's just laughing while he's getting punched in the face, I was just like, this is just fucking incredible. Then they were like suplexing each other through the fucking ceilings and shit.
Oh.
It was great. So that was mine. That whole fight scene was just great.
See, it's funny you said that, because the other one that I was going to pick that I loved so much, obviously I really love that apartment fight scene, but my other favorite moment that won't be the cliche that everyone's going to pick was the ending fight scene between them, because it was so fucking brutal. Just literally slugging it out, like just back and forth, and watching Tom like go through those emotions and that anger, and like he sold the shit out of it. Like, I'm angry for him.
Yeah, you felt it.
Yeah,
you're like, yeah, let's fucking get him.
Yeah, and he's just fucking beating the piss out of him. And I was like, God damn, like the whole fight. I was just like, holy shit. And so, yeah, that was probably, outside of the cliche everyone loves moment, that would be my favorite, because it was like that culmination from the very first movie that we got in the Sam Raimi trilogy. And then you get to see it come full circle, obviously with a different Spider-Man, but with the other ones there and all that. So it just felt like the ending to all of that. You know what I mean? And it just kind of, it hit home hard.
That is actually one of the scenes I have an issue with.
Really?
Surprisingly. And it's just the end of that scene. And it, honestly, it wasn't like that I have a massive issue with it. I just wish they would have changed one specific part. Tom Holland should have stopped himself with the speeder. He shouldn't have needed to be stopped by Toby.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Nick? Do you agree?
I mean, it was a little, like, I don't know if I'm going to say corny, but that is how I kind of felt when you seen, like, Toby and Andrew like look at each other when they were watching him do it, and you were like, oh, okay, one of these guys is gonna step in like to stop it. But I mean, it also made sense that it was one of them too, because they're all kind of like three broken people in a sense. So like they also were like, hey, we should probably like help ourselves out here. Like they were doing it from the beginning. So I won't say I necessarily had a huge problem with it at all.
Yeah, I really didn't, because it made sense to me when they looked at each other, almost like, we'll give him a chance to see if he can make the decision himself. Obviously, he was going to go through with it, which is why Toby stepped in. And also, if you, in my opinion, with everything he dealt with through this movie, with everyone hating him or loving him, but mostly it was the people hating him and throwing bricks through his windows. And then, what happened with Aunt May, and then like all this stuff building up. It, for me, it made sense because he's so frustrated. All he's trying to do is do the right thing and like help everybody and do all this shit. And everyone's just fucking being horrible people to him. Like I could see him just being like, I'm done. Like I'm going to kill this man. Like I can't take this shit anymore. Like all that built up aggression.
100%. And there's where the problem lies. Because he was already told the fucking biggest line in the movie: with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
I would have rather have had him heard that in his head from May and that make him stop doing it than Toby. Because it almost makes it seem like he can get to a frustration point where that doesn't matter. And that's his credo.
Yeah, but I think that's a growing point of the character. It shows character development. He's got to go through that like they did, like even Andrew Garfield said, I went on a rampage. I was filled with rage and that's all I did. And he was trying to keep him from that. So, I mean, he's got to go through that moment, and that's just how it ended up. But I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not saying it was the worst thing ever. I'm just saying that was one of the, I mean, it only took it down a decimal, dude, from my rating. So
in his defense too, I mean, the Green Goblin did deserve to die. I mean, he's
I agree.
Like the worst villain of the villains too.
I was rooting for it. I mean, they made you root for it.
If he was gonna do it, you were sitting there like every punch to the face, you're like, yeah, just get this motherfucker. Like, it needed to be done.
I did think though that before they got on that fight, when Tom Holland was hanging off the glider and he's just beating the shit out of the thing to try to get one of the bombs, that I did have a little issue, because I'm like, Green Goblin's been pretty quick on responding to everything, and he doesn't realize that he's sitting there trying to destroy his speeder and grab these bombs. Like he has no, like, not knowing that's going on to stop him. Like I did think that was a little weak, just allowing him to do that, because it took him a minute to get to that point.
I agree too. It was a little weird, like that he just hopped up on there and did that real quick. You would have thought, he would have done something to try and shake him off or anything, but there was
No, he just let him do it. And I was like, yeah. And that's where I got, like little things like that, where I said the writing was weak, whether it was lines or allowing those little things that you just have to like, okay, I'll let it go because everything else is working so well. It's just a tidbit. It was shit like that. Other than that, fuck, it's just all good things to talk about.
Couldn't you say that the Goblin wanted him to kill him?
Maybe, but I mean, that's taking it a far stretch, because he really wasn't out. He was always the Goblin pretty much the entire movie. He was never himself until the very end.
Right. But it's almost like the Emperor strike me down and take my place.
I mean, I guess you could kind of say that towards the end, because he said he was going to kill him and he's like, good, like, yes, like, there we go. But I don't know if that's him actually meaning that, or he's just fucking nuts because he's just a crazy son of a bitch.
Yeah. I'm just playing devil advocate. That's all.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's so many big moments. I don't even know what to fucking talk about. Okay. Well, obviously, since we brought up the elephant in the room, let's talk about the reveal of Toby and Andrew.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like in your guys' theater when you saw it? Because that's what I'm curious about. How did people react in the theater?
Which time?
Well, your first time, because you saw it day one. I saw it technically day two, official day one.
I saw it twice before you saw it once, bro.
Yeah. So how was the theater reaction like for your first time? Because you're experiencing it first too.
The first time, it was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming. You could tell there were like hardcore Spider-Man fans there, because like as soon as Andrew stood up in there, and you could tell it was a tall, lengthy, like everybody freaked out. Everybody knew it was happening. Including myself. Yeah, that it was honestly incredible. It's one of those moments where you're like, I'm so glad I'm in a movie theater like with a bunch of people I don't know. And because that's something I always do too. Like after I see a movie, like I'll wait for people to upload like fan reactions because that shit just hits me, bro. Like I don't know why. It's just like a connection with these films that there's certain moments in film history, and I truly believe that that's one of them, man. I really do. So yeah, a lot of screaming. I mean, yeah, and I'll let you, Nick. I was with him the first time he saw it, so I'll let him explain it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know if you guys were together.
Yeah, second time. Everybody was cheering when it happened. They were all hyped. They knew. I mean, yeah, they knew it was pretty much happening at that moment too. When he opened the portal, you see him kind of down the end of that alleyway. So
yeah,
everybody was just cheering for it.
I thought my sister was gonna go into the row in front of us. She like jumped out of her seat, like yes. She loves Andrews. She loves Andrews Spider-Man. So
I really liked him too. I mean,
I know you did.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. I was just partial to his.
They just fucked him over with that second movie. That's all.
Yeah.
Watching this one makes me want to go back and watch his because, like, that was my introduction to him. Was this movie? When I found out he was originally playing the Spider-Man in those
he was
two
great
he did,
I
was kind of like, it turned me off, and I was like, whatever. I'll just see him whenever I get around to it. But watching this one, I'm like, I kind of want to go back and watch him now just to see. It's a little interesting now. Out of the three of them, though, I felt like he was like, my least favorite, maybe the weakest.
It's still fun to watch them too because you get to see that style of take that they do on Spider-Man with that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
that's why I do want to go back and watch him because it was interesting finally seeing like how he kind of portrayed Spider-Man or how they had him portray him. So
yeah, because there's one scene that people love in the original Amazing Spider-Man, the first one they made where he fights Lizard Man. Where they said they went more of a actual spider approach with the way that he like attacked instead of just swinging, flipping around. Like at one point, and obviously it may be a spoiler, but it's nothing big. Like he's fighting Lizard Man and he's wrapping him up in a web, but he's not just swinging around him and doing it. He's crawling around him like a spider would, like really fast to like wrap him up in a web. So there was like certain things like that people like. So it's just got a different touch to it. So I mean, it's still worth a watch. Really, really worth a watch.
Yeah, the first one's
definitely
good.
Plan on it.
First one's good. The second one.
That's what Alyssa was telling me is that the second one kind of bombed.
Best part of the second one's the very end.
Yeah,
which I told you when he doesn't save Gwen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because it's like, holy shit, they actually like let her die. Like, yeah.
And it's actually a rough one to watch too.
Speaking of that, bro, that was one of the first time I saw that movie. That was one of the most emotional things I got to. Even though that was like theorized a lot that Andrew would be the one to catch her. When we saw the trailer, we're like, oh, what if Andrew's the one to save her? Once it happened and like you saw his reaction when he just stared at her, I was like, God damn, bro. That one hit me. That one hit me the first time I saw it.
Yeah, Andrew and Tom brought a lot of heart, like a lot of feels with like their moments where they're like kind of broken. Like that one scene, obviously that one with Andrew Garfield and Zendaya, however you say her name, when they're he's sitting there looking at her and he's just like freaking out because he's like, I'm not letting this happen again, all that shit. And then you see Tom when he's, after everything happens with Aunt May, and he's standing in the rain, and they have that beautiful shot where it's like this like side profile of his face, and he's just staring off, listening to Jonah Jameson. Yeah, and you just see the water coming off his face and everything, and just that emotion. Like I was like, fuck, like I'm depressed. Like I feel that shit.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, dude. I'm gonna say this. This might be controversial. Tom Holland is getting very, 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 very close to passing Tobey as my favorite Spider-Man of all time.
What do you think on that? What do you think on that take, Nick?
I can't disagree. Honestly, no? I mean, I was telling you guys before when I went back and watched the two before this with Tom Holland, because I know you guys were definitely insisting upon it. And then my girlfriend too, she's like, yeah, you would enjoy it. Like when I watched him, I was like, I really kind of like his Spider-Man. It's pretty solid. I don't know for sure if I would put him past that, but that is also because, those ones came out like I was younger. I was really into it then. Like it was awesome at the time. So like I'm a little biased, but I can't necessarily disagree if he were to, end up ranking him up there because it's entertained me all three of these movies. Like,
yeah,
awesome.
I'll tell you what a big difference will be too. That new suit, bro. Yeah, I haven't liked Holland's suits are kind of like but
I like
it's not Stark Tech. This is a fucking Spider-Man. This is why like This movie to me was so great. It's like Tom Holland has become Spider-Man. Like he's been
Well, you think-
Spider-Man. He's been kind of like, growing up into the role, but now he's fucking Spider-Man.
And if you think about it, I mean, this movie was like fan service heavy.
Oh,
Heavy.
it was, but it never felt forced.
That's what
Everything
yeah.
made sense.
Yeah, like everything littered in there was perfect. Like you said at that end, like I appreciated when he had that homemade suit and it
Yeah.
had like that shine to it. Like it's just some basic
That
material.
blue, oh my
Yeah.
Yeah.
That to
I
me,
I was like,
I-
this is a comic.
yeah, that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, there's the comic book look right there. I was like, fuck yes. Like the minute I saw the shine on that blue, I was like, that harkens to the old school Spider-Man suit right there.
Yeah.
It's like perfect.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Perfect. Now that we talked about those reveals, there is one reveal that I'm curious about both of you
Yeah, but-
with old big Murdoch in there.
Yeah. I don't think Nicholas even knew who it was.
Really?
Probably not.
Still to this point, probably doesn't. Which I
hold on,
don't
so-
blame him because he's new to the whole MCU thing, right?
Yeah.
The only thing
On
I
top
can
of
think
that-
is Rupert Murdoch. And that is not who you're talking about.
Yeah, no.
That's Foxx, isn't it?
And he was kind of a throw-in, he was kind of like, here he is, gone. Which
And
I was
just-
fine with. I was totally fine with because it didn't like force him into the film. You know what I'm saying?
Where did they show him? Was he when
He still
all
doesn't know
those,
who
like,
he is.
was he one of the guys when all they were breaking in, or was he in the
bro.
post-credit
He had
scene?
lines in this movie.
It was a
Oh.
pretty basic talking scene.
He was the lawyer.
okay.
The lawyer that they were talking to in the beginning of the movie.
Oh,
That's
what's
Daredevil.
Daredevil?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about.
Well, you didn't say
Matthew
Daredevil.
Murdoch.
at all.
Is that Murdoch?
Yeah.
That's his name, dude.
Okay, yeah. If you said Daredevil, I would know who you're talking about.
Well,
then.
you should know, dude.
Oh, I was
So-
saying Murdoch because that's how they introduced him in the movie, and I didn't know if you know it was Daredevil at the time, so I was seeing.
Well,
if
yeah,
you
I seen
catch-
the red glasses. I was like, oh, there's Daredevil.
Okay, good. Well, then you knew who it was. Yeah,
Alright.
But did
I-
you watch the Netflix show that guy starred in as
Absolutely
Daredevil?
not.
No,
No,
you should.
I wasn't going to. I don't know if I'm a big Daredevil fan. I think it was who played him the first time around? Forever Goes
don't.
Ben Affleck.
I don't even
Don't
want to
even
talk
bring that
about
up,
it.
bro.
No.
That like ruined it for me initially, and now like I'm like anything Daredevil, I just think of that, and I'm like,
God,
nah,
who was the
I'm good, I'll
broad that
pass.
played?
It was his wife that played Elektra.
Wasn't Jessica Biel? Was it?
No, it was
Yeah, it was that CIA cuck. What's her name?
She's the one on 13 going on 30.
yeah.
Oh,
She does like
I know who you're talking
You've got
about.
mail.
All up in there.
It's like Jennifer what? Jennifer,
Love Hewitt. No.
No,
I'd be
not
okay-
even nearly as hot.
even if that movie was shit, I would be okay with it.
Gardner.
Honest.
Jennifer Gardner, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Oh
they,
yeah, it was Alias too. Yeah, the CIA cut.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking like for real. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah, she was in the Daredevil movie, and then they made one of the worst superhero movies with her own Elektra, and it was trash.
Yeah, garbage.
It was like basically Daredevil itself, and anything attached to it was
Yeah.
just. Ugh.
We don't talk about those, bro.
Yeah, we don't. But yes, I was excited to have it. Like you said, he was thrown in there, but it was perfect because it was like, hey, here's a teaser of a possibility of this man being involved in somehow later on down the road, yada yada. Because they show, the fact that he catches shit, and everything like
I
that.
love that, by the
So,
way. I'm a good lawyer.
yeah, that is pretty funny.
how did you do that?
Yeah, that was great.
Which was cool to me because I didn't know that they didn't know who he was. You know what I mean? So signifying that, I was like, ooh, this makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
Like he's just being himself right now. They have no fucking clue.
So Daredevil's a New York-based hero too, or was he just
Yeah.
happened to be in there?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, if I
Okay.
remember correctly, it was New
Yeah,
York.
because he
in
faces
the-
a kingpin all the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
which
I think you guys have told me that before about Kingpin being like tied to him.
Which it was
too.
a perfect, back-to-back days.
Oh yeah,
Nicholas
Oh,
hasn't
yeah.
seen it yet, so I won't say.
Are you
but
talking about Hawkeye?
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. There's probably zero chance of me watching Hawkeye.
I'll tell you what. Slight tidbit, controversial. Not even controversial. Hawkeye is the best Disney Plus show they put out yet.
Really?
100%. Better than
See, I
Loki.
haven't-
100%.
I haven't caught up with episode 4 or 5 yet, so I need to do that.
It
Plus,
is
I know
100% a better show than anything they put out yet. And it could be because I didn't have any expectations for it, but everything's been great in the show.
We got to think too. I mean, they've been doing these, so they're probably, getting a rhythm going with, really getting these shows put out there, because I have to imagine the first ones they did, were just kind of like thrown out there.
Yeah. Plus,
Besides
I will say,
WandaVision.
this one feels, I told this to Mason yesterday, this Hawkeye feels like they filmed it like a movie in one whole thing. Like, this is what we're filming, we're not just going to stop filming episode 1 and then let's come back and it flow. Like, it's literally like picks up right where you left off. It's like they filmed it as a movie, and when they edited it, they said, all right, here's a cut point, here's a cut point, here's a cut point. And to me, I feel like that's why I'm like enjoying this, because there's literally no gaps. They're covering everything. It's great.
Well, we'll have to do a full review once the finale happens, and then we can review the whole series. So we'll definitely do that. I'll have to catch up.
It'd be a great time to binge it, because 5 of the 6 episodes are out now.
Oh, I know, and they've only got one more coming out.
Yeah,
so.
just one.
Yep, so definitely catch up on that. So definitely look out for a review of the series on that one. So another thing I want to talk about with this, now that we got it with the big reveals of characters, obviously the last reveal that we had, which post-credit scene, was Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy sitting there from his, trip that he took in the end of Venom 2. And, he's sitting there drunk at the bar trying to wrap his head around the fact that, he's like, wait, so everyone's super here?
Yeah.
Like, there's a billionaire in a tin suit that can fly? Like,
he's been telling us for hours.
Immediately, I was like, oh, this is so beautiful.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Do you think that he's going to actually be involved, or the way that they ended that cutscene with just the Venom piece being left behind is them just keeping Tom Hardy over in the Venom series without incorporating him, and then putting Venom in with like that way? Like, what do you think on that?
There's a lot of possibilities, a lot, because I told Kyle this today. There is a comic line where Flash Thompson, actually, Venom links up with Flash Thompson. I forget what it's called, but that would be interesting if like he takes over Flash. Also, I think there's a possibility where, Tom Hardy does come back into this universe, and we got a Venom versus symbiote suit Spider-Man battle going on.
What's your take, Nick? What do you think? Do you think he's going to be involved, or he's not going to be involved?
To me, I mean, obviously I don't know all the lore and everything, but to me, seeing it, I thought it was kind of their way of maybe separating it a little bit, but still keeping Venom in, like, kind of in Spider-Man's universe. And I almost thought too, I was like, oh, maybe the next one then is gonna be Venom involved, like Spider-Man and Venom or something in the next like Tom Holland Spider-Man they got coming out. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for too, because that'd be pretty sick. So
yeah, honestly, it's the one thing that I really want. Obviously, I love the fact that they did these Venom movies good, and they're enjoyable, and they're solid movies to watch, and it's doing Venom way more justice than Spider-Man 3 did. So I really want the two franchises to merge in some way, where we either get a fight with them or whatever, because I want the interaction like that, because you've got Tom Holland doing an amazing job as Spider-Man, and that quirky banter that he does when he's fighting, embodying that. And then you've got Tom Hardy with the quirkiness of Venom attached to him. And that would just be so interesting to be played out. And I hope that they involve him and they don't just drag over the suit by doing that little tidbit that they did. But if they do get involved, I think it's going to be 1 or 2 movies away. It's either going to be the next one, or it's going to be the one after that. Or we might get something in the, Multiverse of Madness, where they kind of tease it even further. Maybe they just do continuations of like after credit scenes to show that like developing until we finally get the final product.
Yeah. Here's a crazy theory. What if Tom Hardy's Venom was always in Andrew Garfield's universe? And this is their way of bringing Andrew back for an Amazing Spider-Man 3. Because in the movie, he says, oh, I wish I could fight an alien. And then at the end, you get where Venom goes back, but he already knows, oh, I need to go to New York to talk to this Spider-Man. Well, he goes to New York, and it's Andrew Garfield, not Tom Holland. And it's a way to get Venom into Tom Holland's universe.
it's a good way to seed it out like that, for sure.
Then Sony could have their own standalone little almost Sony-verse of Spider-Man, and almost basically just say, here's Tom Holland, Marvel. Have fun.
I could see that happening. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to it because I mean, with the way that Andrew Garfield upped his game from the other two movies, which I like him as an actor in general in those movies. I mean, he hit it out of the park in this one. With,
I think he did too. I thought he was really good in this movie.
Yeah, because one thing I wanted to ask both of you: how do you feel the comedy? Because obviously every Marvel movie has comedy. Do you think there was too much comedy in this? Do you think it was the right amount? Was it like just thrown in their comedy that like it always didn't land? Like, how did you feel about that? Because sometimes in Marvel movies it can feel forced and cheesy, and sometimes it can feel just right. So I didn't know how you guys felt about that.
Perfectly timed.
Yeah, there's nothing that bothered me too much. At first when they were all sitting, well, not when they were all sitting there, but it was Andrew and Toby sitting there kind of just like talking, and I was just like, there's a little cheesy banter. But I was like, it is kind of funny though, because it is like, what are you really gonna be, talking about to yourself too, if that were ever to happen? So like, it was kind of funny. Overall, yeah, I enjoyed most of the comedy movie. I didn't feel like it was forced. It didn't like make me roll my eyes like I'm over this or anything like that. So
it perfectly timed, like what I mean, like because like the whole cracking Toby's back, like that was funny, but it was also like an Easter egg back to when Toby was like my back, like in Spider-Man 2. I literally had just sent that video the other day to Joe and Nick.
I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't have caught that had you not said that about Cam Newton's season.
Yeah. And
because I'd forgotten all about that scene.
Yeah. And it's just funny that was in that movie, but it was timed and it set up a real conversation, like, yes, it was a funny little quirky cheesy thing, but it set up a real conversation, where he's like, so you have like web shooters that just come out of your body. Like that whole conversation was one of my favorite parts of the movie. It's probably a top 5 moment, like all three of them discussing who they fight, everything. I loved that scene.
Yeah, I think any of the conversations they had, like the genuine talk between the three of them, was just gold.
Yeah.
I mean, I laughed so hard when they're getting their web shooters ready, and he's like, "What's that for?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "What?" And he just goes,
yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, like that came out of you."
Then when he's like, "I run out of webs, I have to make him in a lab," and he's like, "Yeah, I could see how that could be a hassle."
He's like, "You ever get web block? Like, you ever just?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it's happened. Yeah."
Yeah, it was great.
It made it sound like he had like ED. Like he was like, you ever get whiskey dick? Like, he's like, yeah, sometimes just get in your head and you just can't get ready to perform, man.
Right.
Like that whole thing. He's like, come out of other parts of your body. When he asked him that, I was like, oh, we're threading a line here.
Yeah. Their banter and Ned, dude. The way they write Ned's character is fucking great.
I can't stand Ned.
It's fucking great.
He works for the movies and all that, but he is literally my least favorite character out of all of it. I'm like,
of course, he's just the guy. He's just there.
I get his part, and he is integral to like all the movies. He does like his special things or whatnot throughout the movies, helping out. He's his best friend and all this shit. But like, I don't know.
And he won't try to kill him.
Listen, man,
I mean,
that was funny as fuck, dude.
He did have some funny parts for sure. In that,
after he got told that, and then he walked over to him, he just stared at him. I was like, this is fucking hilarious.
He quickly logs in the thing and like just backs away.
Yeah. He's like, Peter. Like, they're like all like, yeah. He's like, Peter Parker? We're all Peter Parker.
It's like, no, it still doesn't work. He's like, Peter won. Even when they had the argument between the three of them, he's like, I thought I was Peter too. I thought I was 3. He's like, all right, let's just shut up for a second.
Yeah.
Like,
when Andrew's like, I'm 3.
And then he was like, I'm used to being a part of a team. All right. I have some experience with this. I was part of the Avengers. He's like, oh, sweet. The Avengers. He's like, what's that?
Yeah, that was great. He's like, is that a band? You were in a band?
Like, I love their talks, even when they first met and that old woman's like saying shit. And then he's like, oh, my abuela asked if while you're up there, you can grab that cobweb over there. Stupid shit. If you guys can clean up the cobwebs, that you just shot everywhere, I'm going to bed. Like, it was so good. So good.
Yeah.
One thing, so obviously we talked comedy. Nick, did you give your favorite comedy point? I know Cody gave his. Did you have like a favorite comedy?
I just talked about the comedy in general. I mean, that's why I was talking about like, them talking and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same,
bro.
I know.
Bro.
I was just trying to remember. Now, one thing I wanted to ask, if you saw coming, I didn't think they were going to do this in this movie. What happened with Aunt May? Did you expect that?
Yes.
Did you think you thought it was going to happen?
I thought she was gonna die.
What did you
Going
think?
into the movie, I thought that.
I seen what was it? Alyssa was watching something of this guy on YouTube breaking down the trailer and stuff. And he was talking about that happy scene where, like, you know, he pulls up and he's just got that look on his face and stuff. And he was talking about it, and the guy was theorizing that Aunt May died. So, like, I did have that in the back of my mind, but outside of, if I hadn't seen that, would I have expected it? Maybe watching the movie, I would have been like, it seems like somebody important is going to die or something. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know how to answer it because I was kind of tainted by, you know, a theory thing before the movie. So,
My personal opinion, I didn't think she was going to die. I thought it would have been Happy for the fact that he would have done something to try to save Peter. Like, this is what I thought before the movie. If anyone big was going to die, it was going to be him. Do something to save Peter. And if it wasn't to save Peter, obviously before finding out that him and Aunt May are kind of on like the outs and like, you know, not dating or whatever anymore. After I heard that, I was like, oh, he's going to do something heroic to like not only save Peter, but save Aunt May, you know, in like you know, out of love, whatever, and then, you know, die, you know, because he's the last protector that Tony entrusted him and yada, yada. So that's what I assumed was going to happen. And then it got flipped on me. So I was a little surprised.
I could see that for sure, though. That would make sense. Yeah, with them like breaking up and stuff, really thinking like, oh, that could happen.
Yeah, so that's what I thought was going to happen. So when she went, I was like, it choked me up a bit because she's sitting there and she's like totally oblivious that that's what's happening. She's not even trying to like hide, like, oh, I'm hurt, but I got to be strong. Like, she does not know, you know, just that whole like, oh, I just need to rest my eyes. I just need to rest my eyes. I'll be okay. And I was just like, oh, it broke my heart. Did
you catch the Easter egg in that scene?
Probably not. I'd have to
when he was like, "It's just us. It's just us." He kept saying that over and over again.
No, I didn't catch that.
That's what she was saying to him to get him. Like, she pretty much found out that he was Spider-Man, and she wanted him to tell him that he was Spider-Man. She's like, "It's just us here. It's just us, Peter." And that's literally what he was saying to her. Like, we can take our time. It's just us. And I was like, damn. There were a lot of those like lines that were used in past movies that were used in this one.
No, I didn't catch that. I was too caught up in the moment of her going.
Yeah.
Like, I legitimately thought
she wasn't. I didn't catch that the first time, I won't lie. The second time I saw the movie, I did.
Yeah, like when she was like, I legitimately thought she was just shaken up from the whole situation, you know, because she'd never been in like a battle like that.
Yeah.
And then when
you should have known she was dying as soon as she said the line. With great power comes great responsibility. Even the first time we saw it, Mason was sitting next to me. He goes, "She's dead." Literally, just like that, too. You know, he's not quiet. So the whole theater's like needles, and he's just like, "Yep, she's dead."
That bitch is gone. I was surprised in that scene. They actually shot him.
Yeah,
they opened fire and they fucking tagged him. I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
I was like, they actually did that in the movie. Like, I was like happy that they showed real.
Shot him in the movie. It was a real bullet.
Alec Baldwin did. Too soon.
This is what happens when we film in the same location sites as Russ. God damn it! I told you. I know Tom Holland can do real backflips, but this is fucking ridiculous. He can't avoid that shit.
Yeah,
I heard he was super pissed about it.
You know who else was great in this movie that needs some recognition?
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, 100%, 100% Jamie Foxx fucking killed it in this movie.
Yeah, because you haven't seen the Amazing Spider-Mans, right, Nick? We've gone. Okay,
God,
so
they fucking ruined his character Jamie so Foxx, bad.
Like,
he didn't do a horrible job in that movie. The movie failed him with what he was given
100%.
Because Jamie Foxx is a good actor. You know, when he really like does a good job, like, you know, Django Unchained and shit like that.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, he's really good. And this was a good redemption for him.
Yeah.
Like they did him justice and he fucking owned it.
Yeah,
he
killed it.
Yeah, I did like his character a lot. For not seeing the movie beforehand and really knowing shit about him, I did like his character.
Yeah. So when we first see him and he's like all blue, like pure energy, that's basically what he is the whole time in the Amazing Spider-Man movie. It's just like
he's 100%
CGI.
Bro. Yeah.
He's basically a voice actor for the character. This time he actually got to act.
Really? Oh, really? So they don't show his like. I see what you mean. So they don't show his like physical body at all.
He's straight up blue, bro.
Oh yeah, I could see
Bad.
that'd be a little like.
The only
yeah.
time you see him is before he turns into Electrode.
That's why in this movie when he is Jamie Foxx, he's like, I got my body back. Like,
Ah,
And I did like how I even pointed out when I think I did the trailer reaction for this, I can't remember, but how they did the old school nod to the Electro outfit when he gets Tony Stark's whatchamacallit,
that thing from the
reactor.
fabricator.
Yeah, the reactor, and then he charges up and they show the fucking lightning bolt headpiece form above his head.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a nice touch. That is a very nice touch because that's the old school outfit, the green and yellow, and I was like, I like that.
Yeah, it
Very,
was a
very
nice
brief.
touch.
Very brief. But yeah, he did a phenomenal job, and I loved his swagger too. Like, obviously, the other character, like, it made sense the way he was doing it because he was like that quirky nobody, so he kind of just had like that, like, unsure of himself type of feel. But the swagger that he brought in this was badass.
Yeah.
It was really badass, and I loved the banter that they had when all of them were captured in Doctor Strange's, basement.
Yes.
And they're all in their separate cells. All of that conversation, beautiful.
Yeah. Every time anybody talked in there was great.
Yeah,
Especially when Norman's like, I'm a bit of a scientist myself.
that was fucking great.
That was good. And one thing that I was happy about because, okay, we had Lizard Man and Sandman, right?
Lizard Man.
I heard
just the lizard, dude.
the lizard, whatever.
Lizard
the lizard
Man.
and Sandman.
Is
Or
actually a
Dr.
kicker.
Connors, dude.
Yeah, well, we had them in this movie. Obviously, we see them in their CGI form like the entire time. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they just got these guys to either voice act these roles and they didn't physically have the ability to be in them. So they're always going to be as themselves. But then when they, got cured and fixed and whatever, and they went back, I was like, God damn. I was like, they're really them. Like, I knew that Lizard was going to be the same guy because that was like soon enough where I'm like, okay, he probably will come back for this. But Sandman, I was like, is he going to be the same dude? And he looked the fucking same.
Yeah, it was. It was the same guy.
Yeah, and I was very, very happy about that. I was like, good shit. Like, that's awesome.
It's a dude from George of the Jungle, dude.
Every time I see him, that's all I think. I think his name was Lyle in that movie.
Yeah.
Ursula, I found your scrunchie. That's exactly what my dad said when I was like, yeah, they brought him back. And he's like, yeah, George of the Jungle. I found your scrunchie.
Like, I feel like I've seen him just in random movies like since then, but that is the only movie like for sure I'm like, oh yeah, it's George of the Jungle. That's where he's from.
And Nicholas leans over to me when Connors gets healed and he's like, I think that guy's smoking on the field.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I'd never seen that movie. So like when I seen him, I was like, oh, that's fucking hilarious.
That's the dude. He's the bad guy in that fucking movie. And he does a good
great.
He does a good job.
Great job of that role.
Yeah. And it's honestly, The Amazing Spider-Man is one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos. Like, it was like such a cool cameo that he had in that movie. I won't ruin it for Nick, but I mean, you know it, Cody, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it's not like that big of a deal, dude. The movies have been out for like years.
All right. Well, do you want to know what it is?
I am dying to know what it is, bro. Fucking tell me.
No, I mean, the cameo is pretty cool because it's the first epic fight you get to see between the Lizard and Spider-Man, and they're fighting at the high school. So they bust through into the library, and the whole fight's slow-mo as you're seeing it happen throughout the library. But Stan Lee's just sitting there with headphones on, listening to music, sorting books as like the librarian, as this big epic battle's going on behind him in like crazy
He's got
slow-mo.
no clue.
No idea that all this shit's happening. He's just chilling there, and he's like, oh, they're just beating the fuck out of each other. It's great.
Which there was a nod to that scene too when Lizard goes back through the portal after Ned. Did you pick up on that? I mean, that was a nod back to that scene because Tom Holland swings through and he's fighting the Lizard in the background, but the camera is focused on Ned and Zendaya coming back towards the run through the portal, and they're flipping over the tables and stuff in the background.
No,
At
I
least
didn't
that's
catch
the way
that.
I took it. I was like, oh, they did that scene. It was like I don't know how to say it. Like it wasn't a 3-dimensional thing, but it was just like a in the background fight as we're focused on two other characters.
Yeah, it's like a layered shot.
Yeah, layered. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, I didn't catch that, but I also didn't see it twice. So
Yeah, I mean, these are the perks.
the first time I watched it, only once, I'm sitting there going,
Yeah,
I'm not analyzing shit. I'm just like, suck it in.
That's what I'm off all this coming week. So like, I'm really thinking about going and seeing it again.
I want to go
just
see
wanna
it Sunday.
again.
I think I made that decision. I'm going to go see it Sunday again.
If When you going?
Probably in the morning.
Yeah,
Early.
I want to go see it again.
I want to see it again, but the only way I'm going to see it again is to go watch it in IMAX. I want to see that shit in IMAX. I don't even care if it's 3D IMAX. I just want that big screen sound environment, and I just want to experience it like that. Because I was sitting there with my dad, and the thing came up that they had IMAX showings, and I was like, fuck. I was like, God damn it. It's like if we didn't live 2 minutes away from a regular movie theater, I would have drove the half hour to go to an IMAX and get those seats. But I just said, screw it, because this place is literally 2 seconds down the road.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that for sure. Do you think this movie is? I didn't obviously go see it in 3D. Do you think that would matter too much? Because to me, I was like, I
hate
wouldn't
3D,
care
personally.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I don't like wearing glasses, and
It
doesn't do
like
anything for me. It doesn't enhance my experience.
Yeah, it makes me sick.
Yeah, I mean, with movies like this, sometimes it makes you sick because it's so crazy with action, and especially CGI heavy movies. I'm like, But I might go see it in IMAX 3D because that's like the full experience. Let's see what other tons of big things obviously in this movie, but any other standout things that you were very happy that actually got fleshed out, or like that was rumored or you didn't know or anything like that? Because we already talked about all the big ones. And I'm saving the second credit scene for the end of our conversation.
Right, yeah, I figured.
I enjoyed watching them, all three of them swinging around together, trying to kick ass. That was pretty sweet.
Something that's important, but was a very underlining thing in the movie, was that Doctor Strange is not the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yes.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna, because of the next movie, we'll get more explanation on that and like how that affects things.
That'll be interesting. I thought that was interesting. I'm trying to think of anything else that was like small. Not really. I do love continuously that J. Jonah Jameson's Daily Bugle is like InfoWars and he's Alex Jones.
That was awesome. That was hilarious.
And
Daily
I love
Bugle
how
supplements.
In the beginning, he's in like a basement. At the end, he has like a studio. Like you can tell he's getting bigger and bigger and popular.
It's the first thing I thought of when I saw that it was Alex Jones.
Yeah. Absolutely. Love that.
Public enemy number one.
Yeah.
Terrorist.
I love the school scene. It was completely unnecessary. Like him going back to school and us seeing that, other than the teachers and the security guard being there. Fucking hilarious. He's like, where we mold heroes or murderers. Every time I see that guy too, I think of the Eric Andre show. Every time, bro.
Oh yeah, he was on that.
Yeah, he was the best. And when he's like, he's like, he killed somebody. He's like, yeah, he's a huge conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, we know what you did. I thought that was great.
If you want to run through the halls, swing through the halls, whatever you want to do.
Just to avoid people. We know you can do it.
Or murderers.
Yeah, I mean, that little stuff was great. It was like I said, it was like an unnecessary scene, but it fit like the movie. It was like, all right, these guys have been in each movie. We got to have one scene with the teachers in it, you know.
And that's kind of what I was getting at when I was asking you about the comedy, because there was stuff like that where even though it was funny, I knew it wasn't necessary. So I was curious if like those types of scenes, you guys would be like, eh.
Yeah, they didn't take me out of it at all. I'll tell you, there was one line that even the second time I saw it still bothers me. And I don't know if it was the way it was delivered, but it was said by Toby. And it was when he first comes through and he's like, I just can't help but feel that your friend needs my help. I was like, all right, that was really weak. That was really weak.
Yeah.
You know, but it's whatever. You're going to have a weak line here and there, but.
That was one thing, and I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. But that was one thing that did drop my score from a 10 to a 10 to a 9. Was obviously I love Toby. I love the original Spider-Man. One thing that I didn't always like about the original Spider-Man was that sometimes his expressions in his face are just flat. Like no matter what he was talking about, it was always flat. Whether he was upset or happy or whatever, like there wasn't a lot of expression. It was always dead-faced a little bit. And in this one, it felt a lot like that still. Like every time he talked, it was just stone face. you barely see the expression in his mouth when he would be happy
Yeah.
or whatever. And
He's
that's
more
like
expressive
those.
in his eyes.
Yeah, but the lines that he gives like that to me
Yeah.
kind of took away, I thought it was weak, even more than just that line. I mean, did you guys feel that way, or am I just being picky?
No, you're not wrong, especially when Andrew and Holland. I mean, Holland was just fucking incredible in this movie in every fucking facet. But Andrew's he's a Broadway actor. He's great at expressing all those feelings. Like when he catches Mary Jane, and like you instantly know he's thinking of Gwen because he's like holding back tears. Like get that instantly,
physically reliving that moment.
Right. So especially when he's acting next to those two. Yeah, for sure. I don't think you're wrong with that.
You agree, Nick?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, because that was the only thing I had against Toby in there was that I was just like, it's if he was by himself, you wouldn't see it as much, even though I know it. But yeah, I thought he was just a little flat. But when you mix all three of them together, it works. So
what's he's really done in a while either.
I don't know.
It's kind of like when they brought Carrie Fisher back for The Force Awakens, and it was like, man, she can't act anymore. Like she's been out of the game a long time. So
she's done a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, but he wasn't bad. They had a lot of Easter eggs with him too. Like when he tells Doc trying to do better, like that's something he says to him in Spider-Man 2. Like there was a lot of nostalgia thrown in this movie.
I did like when he held the Iron Man's reactor in his hand, and he was like, the power of the sun in my hand, and I was just like, yeah, I was like, that's a nice touch because that's basically what you have.
It's crazy because like that's literally what he wanted to do. That was his goal, like pure energy for the world, and Tony did that in a different place. So
yeah,
that is kind of cool.
It is. And I did like how when they kind of humanized him, when he fixed his sensor, his chip, on the back of his neck, the chip, and he becomes his normal self. I did like that moment where he looks like he's joining with the bad guys to fight them at the very end, and then he just turns around and is, starts working with. I was like, that's awesome. Like that's really cool because that's who he truly is. And I was having this conversation with my dad when we got out of the theater. I was like, I was like, yes, all these bad guys were never really bad guys before they became one, but he was never really corrupted by any means. It was the device he created went bad, and then it turned him corrupt. So he was never a bad guy. He's like one of the few who's truly a good soul and just a scientist with a thing gone wrong. So I was happy to see him be himself again and be in control because it's like, yeah, that's cool. Like now we've got, who knows what might happen with him in the future if they do anything more. I highly doubt it because I don't think he's going to be coming back for all these movies, or there's no reason for it. But I thought that was a nice send off for his character because he truly was never meant to be a villain. He just had no choice.
Yeah, I also like the way they play. I was actually telling Cody earlier too about that. Like I like the way they did play that out, and especially because when you leave him before that, when he comes back, like they make it almost seem like Electro did destroy, the fresh chip or whatever that Spider-Man put on. Because you don't see him after the apartment and all that shit. That whole scene. So I really enjoyed the way they played that too. Because he was a pure character before that corrupted him.
Mm-hmm. And you feel bad because he literally, like when he turns back to normal, it's like he's been in a prison, like in his own mind for God knows how long, and it's like you feel for the guy. And when he finally comes back and he's like, it's so quiet. I felt that shit. I was like, damn, like that would be miserable.
Yeah.
And even Tom Holland says it. That's why he's so miserable all the time. Yeah. It just sucks. I couldn't imagine 100%. Being a prison. I couldn't imagine being a prisoner in your own body. And that's why I was like, I'm glad he got free. They did that. That's really cool. I'm glad Aunt May pushed him to do it. It was a cool thing to happen.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
What was your least favorite part of the movie?
My least favorite part of the movie? I don't have a least favorite part. I have an emotion that I hated because I hated how Doctor Strange in this movie kind of felt like he was just being careless and didn't give a shit sometimes. There was that feeling in my head where I was just like, he's always been so careful. He's always been so calculated. Now he's like, this kid's been through a lot. Let's just do some random spells, some relics that we usually fuck around with. Oh God, it went wrong. All right, well, you need to do this. I always felt like Peter got the best of him and it was too easy. And that did bother me a little bit.
I don't know if I'd be able to pick a least favorite, but I kind of agree with Adam. I was like, and I know I don't know, like I said, I harp on it a lot. I don't know a whole lot about the Marvel characters and all that. And like what I know of Doctor Strange is pretty limited through the couple movies I've seen. But I felt the same too, in that Doctor Strange comes off as, yeah, cold, calculated, like everything he does is for a purpose, by the book almost, like doesn't stray from that path or anything like that. But the way he was kind of in this movie was a little weird. It was like, okay, I know I don't know a lot, but this just doesn't, it seems a little out of character for him. But I also wonder if maybe that is because he's not the Supreme Wizard or whatever you call him
Sorcerer
before.
Supreme.
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe now, like in his own mind, he's like, well, I'm not that mantle anymore, so I can kind of, maybe let loose a little bit. But I do agree with Adam. I don't know if I have the least favorite part, but that part did kind of like, I don't want to say rub me the wrong way, but I was just kind of like, it's a little weird. It didn't seem like it would be him.
I gotta tell you, I'm very impressed, Nicholas. I'm very impressed. Because you nailed it. The reason he's so careless is he's not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore. You gotta think back to Doctor Strange when he was learning and everything. What was he? He was very cocky. When he was a fucking surgeon, he was very cocky.
Oh, yeah.
He could fucking do anything. He didn't worry about it. Whatever, I can handle it.
Before he was a
Yeah, he was literally Doctor Strange. Like, it's not just like a made up name. You got to watch that movie, bro.
Okay.
And he's
I'm
literally
not
doing
gonna lie,
like
I kinda
100. He's solving when he gets in a car accident, but he's solving a patient's issue while doing 200 miles an hour down a mountain in the rain because he's that cocky. That is who Doctor Strange is. That's his personality. When he accepted the responsibility as the Sorcerer Supreme, everything got a little calculated. He realized the importance of his job, the fabric of reality. Now that's Wong's problem. That's technically not his. So I feel like he's reverted back to his old cocky self, and he also got permission from Wong. He did ask Wong, is it fine? And Wong said, just leave me out of it. Fine.
Yep.
So to me, I don't think it was really careless because he did ask.
Yeah, but think about it, because that does make sense. But at the same time, after everything they just went through with Endgame and Thanos and the universe almost being destroyed and all this other crazy shit, you'd think that even if you reverted back to who you were, you would still remember that type of shit and be like, we shouldn't probably fuck with the fabric of time. And he verbally
it wasn't
said
the fabric of time, though.
I understand they were going with memory and stuff like that, but
it was
still,
a simple spell that Peter fucked up, not Doctor Strange.
But he could have stopped the spell. He could have just stopped doing it.
Not in the middle of casting, though. That's what he said.
But he kept. But he chose to keep adding
in the middle
things.
of it.
But he kept.
He didn't have to, right? But he went too far. You changed my spell 6 times.
Yeah, I don't know.
He couldn't get Peter to stop.
I get what you're saying, but it still just
it's
felt
not
weird
Mephisto,
to me.
bro.
I wasn't even gonna go that far. I heard those theories.
Fucking retards out there, man. They're never making Mephisto.
It's snowing in his place because
they wouldn't be able to sell the movie in Japan, or not Japan, China.
Why is that?
They have some rule against devil. What is it?
Deities or some shit.
Deity, shaped creatures and movies and shit. And they ain't losing the profits from China to put in Mephisto. They'll find a different character.
Yeah, they will. But yeah, that I really didn't have a least favorite part, honestly. The one thing that always aggravated me about, thinking about this movie before it came out and then now watching it was looking at humanity. Like, I was like physically pissed off at how everyone was just so quick to turn on him. Like, this dude was part of a group that just saved the entire fucking universe from being half obliterated and brought families and people back and risked his life to do so in like different, planets and space and all this shit. And everyone just immediately believed this random guy that's just been around for a little bit, supposedly, saving the day, when it's like he just saved the universe. And then everyone's just like, fuck Spider-Man. Yep, he's a villain. He's this and that, and throwing bricks through his window. And I was like, that was too quick. And I was like, I hope all of you die. Like, I literally, I just had that. But that's what the movie did. It sold it so well that I was like pissed off myself. I was like, fuck these people.
That's because it felt real, bro.
Yeah.
That's how powerful the media is in real life, bro.
Yeah.
And that's what got me heated. I started thinking about it and I was like, God damn it. I was like, this is it right here. And then I'm listening Jonah Jameson go off and I'm just like, fake news. You're a piece of shit, buddy.
Yeah. That's how powerful the media is, bro. They can twist anything.
And it's disgusting. And it just, I don't know. it just made me mad. Like I was like, my heart rate was going up because
But that's the whole thing about Spider-Man and Peter Parker. It's set in the very first Tobey movie. Green Goblin says it. There's nothing people love watching more than a hero failing or a hero falling. Like, in spite of all you've done for them, eventually they will turn on you. That's one of the best lines in like superhero fucking history, bro.
It is,
and that's Spider-Man. Which brings me to my second favorite scene in the entire movie, the very end, when he does not talk to Zendaya or Ned. I keep saying Zendaya instead of MJ. When he doesn't talk to them about who he is or anything, he just lets it go.
Like that.
That's fucking. We're finally Peter Parker. We're finally Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Nobody knows, because it was getting a little out of hand. Who knew who fucking Spider-Man was? Just a little bit. That's just not that character. So.
Yeah, I did appreciate that you could tell he was looking in his mind when he looked at them and he's like, they're better off without me. Like, because they were he got what he wanted, where they were both going to MIT. They were on the right path. And he's like, it's just not going to work. And you go back to that line that Dr. Strange gave him, where he said, the problem is you're trying to be two things.
Exactly.
And he finally accepted
and that is
that
Spider-Man.
moment.
That is why this is a Spider-Man fucking movie. That ending right there. It's the same thing with Spider-Man 2 and why I loved it so much. Why did he have a web block in that movie? Because he didn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. That's why he couldn't do Spider-Man things. It was fucking beautiful.
Yeah, it was perfect. And it's a good send off to, the future stuff that we're going to get from him.
Yeah. 3 new
100%.
movies signed down for. So,
yeah.
That'd be exciting.
Not to mention, we've already got Venom 3 in the works right now, too. So, like I said, maybe we're getting to some culmination with that, especially after the first end credit scene with Venom getting left behind. And now, wrapping this up, we're going to go into the second post-credit scene, which was not really much of a scene. It was pretty much a reveal trailer for the multiverse. Yeah, for the Multiverse of Madness, which, funny enough, I was telling my dad in theater, I was like, I saw some on the internet that we might get that teaser in like a week. And then, after watching that, I was like, never mind. There it is. Because he was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, this is a trailer. And he's like, what? I'm like, just watch.
Yeah. I loved that, where my favorite part of that trailer is when Wanda's like, I'm sorry about Westview. I made mistakes. And he's like, I don't even care about that. Like, we got way bigger fish to fry here, woman. That was great. That was great.
Well, yeah, because it was just like her having an existential crisis. I mean, that's all it was. It might as well have been like someone going on like a bender because they've so depressed, and it's like, okay, I really don't care about that. Like, we've got a whole world here.
I mean, let's cut to the chase. There's 2 Doctor Stranges. I mean, what the fuck is that? It's like Dark Doctor Strange. Yeah, I was like,
what? All right.
And I know they said this movie's going to be like kind of like a scary movie. Like, it's going to be dark as hell. So I am interested to see this movie.
Well, it looked like he was in the chamber where they had the end of Loki too. When he was talking to his dark self, it looked like that office.
Maybe, yeah. It could have been.
From the Timekeeper.
Could have been, which would be sweet.
Because you got to think, because you got to think if they're going into the multiverse, and that's kind of where it originated to where it started breaking apart, was that whole scene.
Right.
When I looked at it, I was like, I think that's the same fucking office, and maybe like there's a darker version of himself that's in charge now, or whatever, however that played out, because we never really saw what happened after the end of that.
Yeah.
Loki was just in some other, alternate reality. So who knows? It could have been a reality where evil Doctor Strange is in charge.
Be interesting.
He is.
Or is that Mephisto?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Mephisto confirmed, dude.
Cut this. I'm over it.
But okay, what would you guys rate the trailer for Multiverse of Madness? First teaser trailer we got. What would you give that as far as a hype train? 1 out of 10.
7.5, 0.6.
That's that last one we were just talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to rate that. I don't know. It's a trailer. I mean, it got me hyped for the movie, but I'm not going to rate a trailer. Like, that's stupid.
All right.
It was excited. I'm excited for the movie. I'm not saying fuck you. I'm just saying I'm not going to rate it. Like, it got me excited for the movie.
All right. So
it did its job.
He gives it a thumbs up.
Yeah. 2 of them. There you go.
He gives a Roger and Ebert thumbs up right there.
One of them didn't like it. I think it was Ebert. You know, he's an old prickly asshole. I don't know shit about him actually. But
It's the worst thing in cinema history. No, I'm hyped for it. I agree with Cody. I'd probably give it a 6 or 7 out of
okay,
like
I'm
a
looking
hype.
up this Mephisto guy. I mean, he looks pretty badass, but like, this is really what they want. Like, China, really? They still do blackface over there, and they won't allow this? Like, what? Oh my god, these people are such pussies.
They're very selective, man. Very selective.
I guess.
Hey, say what you want about them, but they gave us TikTok, dude. All right, and I spend a quality amount of my time on.
I don't. I do not have that on my phone. I will never install that on my phone.
Everyone has an FBI agent on their computer. I have a Chinese agent on my phone.
You have both.
Yeah,
True.
that is true. I'm stacking them up. All right,
just collecting all of them. Gotta catch them all, dude.
you got to catch them all. I probably have one from Jordan when I was over there that I brought back.
Definitely, probably, dude.
Because the Chinese were over there too. So yeah, I don't think there's really any much more. We can go into every single minute detail, but that was pretty much the big meat of it. Obviously, all the big stuff and our favorites. Anything else you guys want to hit on before we wrap this up?
I think so.
I think that about covers it. That was pretty thorough.
All right, good. Well, we
Craven
are agreed
was in
across.
this movie.
Huh?
What?
What'd you say?
What?
I don't know what you said.
Craven was in this movie.
Craven? What do you mean?
Spider-Man
Craven
villain?
the Hunter.
Craven the Hunter.
When was he in it?
See, this is something else I noticed in the second part in the purple shit. There was Craven the Hunter was one of those characters.
Oh, 'cause I was trying to make out some of them, but I couldn't figure them out quick enough.
It took me the second time. The first time I tried to, but I was so like, what is happening? Second time I really focused on it.
Yeah, because I looked at it and I was like trying to figure out, and I saw one that like almost poked through, and I'm like, is that somebody?
Yeah.
Like it looked like he was like holding a staff or something.
Something else, I just want to say this real quick, that I noticed the first time, but I told Mason, I was like, we have to listen for it to make sure I heard it correctly. Venom does say, not again, we just got here, or we just got back here, when he disappears again. And I've been debating with him. I don't know if he's necessarily saying like, oh, this is the second time we've gotten into this universe. So I don't know if there's like a way, you know, because Venom was explaining, I've seen shit that would blow your mind.
Yeah.
Is there a way where Venom, when he, you know, got teleported the first time, realized how he could go back and forth? I should have brought that up earlier, but I didn't. Forgot about it.
It'd be interesting too.
The
Good
third
food for
time I
thought.
watch it, I want to see like the emotion on it. But
Third time's a charm, man.
yeah, well, I'll
For all
probably
these
see it like
eggs.
6 or 7. So
I'll probably end up finding a copy online somewhere eventually, just so I can like
there's
just
quite a few scenes on YouTube and TikTok right now.
Oh, I know. That's why I've been staying away.
When you've seen it, dude, let it rip.
Let it rip. But that was our spoiler review. Let us know what you think of our views and ratings on the movie. What you thought of the movie. If you haven't seen it yet, how hyped you are. Definitely some comments down below on your opinions and your reactions to everything. Like I always say in the beginning, like and subscribe to the channel here, or dislike, whatever your opinion is. It's a free country. You do what the fuck you want. And we respect you for it. And then also follow us over on our social medias. And with that, you have a beautiful Marvel release Friday, and we will catch you on the next one.
Deuces.